Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for your patience. We're going to begin with the blessing from the Salaam daughters. They've asked for no music or very, very low music. So welcome the fruit of the tree, the Salaam daughters.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
We're going to start with a blessing. Calling on our African ancestors, those whose names we do not know.
Calling on our family ancestors and lineage of Ferdinands, of Copelands, honoring Kalamu Salaam, Val Ferdinand III, Lil Val, a son, a grandson, a nephew, a cousin. Calling on Kalamu's great-great-grandmothers and great-great-grandfathers. Calling on Kalamu's grandparents, maternal and paternal grandmothers and grandfathers, aunts, uncles, cousins. Calling on Kalamu's parents, Valley Ferdinand, Big Val, and Inola Copeland Ferdinand. Recognizing two brothers, Keith C. Ferdinand and Kenneth Ferdinand, honoring Kalamu Salaam as a brother.
Calling on first wife Tayari Salaam and late wife Nia Beulah McCoy. 5 offspring by blood and 2 by marriage. Beloved grandchildren by blood and marriage. Safan Salaam, Jahi and Samika's son, Kalamu's first great-grandchild, and all the descendants yet to be born, yet to be conceived, honoring Kalamu Salaam, a father and grandfather, and great-grandfather. Beyond family lineage, by blood and marriage, calling on his loved and chosen family of brothers and sisters and children, numerous colleagues and students, comrades and friends, from his many endeavors through the decades, calling on our Creator. The Creator has a master plan, honoring Kalamu Salaam, Anio Griot, Anio Griot, Anio Griot, Ashe, Ashe, Ashe.
Take a little rhythm. Thank you. Give it up for the Salaam sisters. So I'm Kelly Harris-DeBerry, and I had the tall task of trying to put this together in like 3 months. And so I want to acknowledge Words to Music Festival, who came to me and said, I think we should do a celebration for Kalamu Salaam. And so I said yes, not knowing all what that yes meant. But the challenge of celebrating Kalamu Salaam's literary lineage is that you can't do it all. Inevitably, I'm going to miss somebody, I'm going to miss something that should be included because there's just so much to celebrate. I had to tell some people no, I had to reduce videos that I did not want to reduce, but my husband inserted himself as a NOMMO participant and said, we edit. So I had to edit. And I have an abundance of content that we hope to hand over to the Amistad Center so that this will be preserved. So tonight focuses on 3 main areas: Runagate Press, Students for the Center, and of course, NOMMO Literary Society, the 3 kind of most influential that people kind of know in New Orleans. And so we're focusing on those 3 areas. It doesn't mean that somebody else can't do a tribute as well. I think Baba deserves all the tributes in the world, so don't make this be the only one. In February of 2025, Kendrick Lamar is coming to New Orleans for the halftime show. And he has this song that says, "They Not Like Us." But I think he is about 20-something years late. because it was the Black arts movement and Black poets like Kalamu Ya Salaam that been telling us they not like us. So Amiri Baraka wrote, if Elvis Presley is king, who is James Brown? God? Gwendolyn Brooks wrote, we real cool, not them, but we real cool. June Jordan wrote, we are the ones we've been waiting for, not the ones on the ballot, not them fools. We are the ones that we are waiting for. Toni Morrison wrote, you are your own best thing. Us, we are our own best thing. And certainly Kalamu Ya Salaam's favorite, Langston Hughes, said that we are Kalamu Ya Salaam. And that's why we are here tonight.
There are some writers who help define a city, or who make a city a destination simply because they are there. It's impossible for me to think about New Orleans without thinking about Tom Dent, Mona Lisa Salaam, Brenda Marie Osby, and of course, Kalamu Ya Salaam. I believe I met Kalamu around maybe 1969, around the time he was becoming Kalamu. And that was a time in which we were celebrating our blackness in ways that educated us, surprised us, and reminded us of the work that needed to be done. But I remember that, in terms of, and I think that's where our friendship began to develop. I always admired Kalamu and always learned from him because he was very important to the Black arts movement, but the Black arts movement in the South, and I always respected the fact that he was a person that was not just a writer, but he was also a publisher. He was doing many things. He was a music critic, and I always admired that. I think what he did in terms of establishing the NOMMO Literary Society in New Orleans helped produce probably a whole new generation of young writers. Many times people are only concerned about their own careers, but when we look at what Kalamu was able to create, those institutions were very important for emerging writers, coming out of New Orleans. So that's very important. But I would say this in terms of 4 books that I think are important in anybody thinking about Kalamu Ya Salaam. The first one is Fertile Ground, Memories and Visions, which he edited that back in around 1996. And that's a very important anthology in terms of just not just the poets involved in it, but he has several key essays by Stephen Henderson that he reprinted. And so that publication is very, very important. And when you think about how important Kalamu is to the Black arts movement, you can see that here he is using his publication outlets to present a key scholar who's important in trying to define the Black aesthetic, and that's Stephen Henderson. And then the second book, 360 Degrees, A Revolution of Black Poets, which came out around 1998. And this is an anthology that Kalamu edited with Kwame Alexander. And that this book includes 40 poets, people from like Ntozake Shange to Tracy Marr. Black Issues Book Review, they said that this publication was one of the 100 most important books of the 20th century. So you see how that Kalamu was able to produce a book of that importance. And so that one is key. And then the last 2 I would mention, one which is probably very dear to Kalamu's heart, as a recent book that he did called Precise Tenderness. And that's a collection of his 100 haiku. And when I look at that book, we might, for literary critics, we might put that book next to Richard Wright's, collection of haiku. But that's a form that I think Kalamu needs to be looked at the same way we look at Leonard Moore, we look at Sonia Sanchez, we look at individuals who have really, in our lifetime, really promoted the haiku form. And I put, Kalamu at the top of that list. And finally, perhaps the most important one, which I found difficult to even find, but I'm glad I have a copy, and that's Cosmic Deputy, Poetry in Context, 1968 to 2019. And here we find Kalamu, not just presenting his poetry, but also presenting short essays explaining how he became a writer. And I find that, it's like a part memoir, part anthology of his work. And it's very, very important because it feels that can be very helpful to others. There's a lot of things when I read the book I didn't know about Kalamu, but I always respect the honesty and using your own life as an inspiration for others. And so to see him being honored, by his community in November is something that I'm glad I could just say, okay, keep doing it, keep doing it because this person is very, very important, to the history of New Orleans.
Booth, I'm changing something. Hold that video, the next one. We have a special guest in the house. Councilman Green is here with, he wants to acknowledge Baba Kalamu Salaam. Thank you.
Good evening, and this is not a hit and run. I'm going to be staying here afterwards, but I came up and they said, well, take time out now. I'm so honored to be here on this occasion, this auspicious occasion to recognize a literary giant for someone whose commitment to our community goes back decades. He's really always been sincerely interested in working with our community to build our community and to enhance the quality of life for so many, and he's had a tremendous impact. When you mention Kalamu, everybody knows that you're talking about someone who is also certainly an artistic giant, but somebody whose commitment to our community goes so deep that he's been willing to give of his time and his energy focusing on doing good things in our city, and it's had a tremendous impact. Thank you very much. So I can give a long speech sometimes, but I'm not going to do that. This is going to be my long speech. I have a proclamation from the city of New Orleans, and it's important that I think that everyone would want to hear this. I have a presentation honoring the literary lineage of Kalamu Salaam, whose name means pen of peace. Whereas Kalamu Salaam was born Valerie Ferdinand III in the lower 9th Ward of New Orleans. Somebody chuckled when I said that. That's okay? Valerie Ferdinand III in the lower 9th Ward, all right. I want to make sure I'm not making a mistake now. No, I'm not, but yes. We all don't know that he's Valerie Ferdinand III, but Kalamu Salaam served 3 years in the Army, everyone, from 1965 to 68, including 1 year of service on a nuclear missile base in South Korea. That goes, who knew that? But whereas Kalamu Salaam was the editor of Black Collegian magazine from 1969 to 1982. We remember Black Collegian, how important it was, how it motivated students to stay in school and to also attend college. He was appointed to both the jazz and literature panels of the National Endowment for the Arts, was employed as a director of the Lower 9th Ward Neighborhood Health Center, and there's an example of a great artist, someone giving his time to the community he loved, the Lower 9th Ward community, and was the executive director of the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation when a lot of great work was done. Whereas Kalamu Salaam and Ayo Fayemi Robinson founded Runagate Press, which produced a series of New Orleans writers and publishers in partnership with the University of New Orleans, UNO Press. And whereas, and this is going to take me a little bit of time, Kalamu Salaam edited New Orleans Griot, the Tom Dent Reader, which was the 2020 One Book, One New Orleans selection winner, wrote a book of essays called Be About Beauty in 2018, which won the Penn Oakland Award in 2019, and had Runagate publications that included Louisiana Midrash by Marion D. Moore, I Feel, okay, all right. I Feel to Believe by Jarvis DeBerry. I Am New Orleans, 36 Poets Revisit Marcus Christian's definitive poem, I Am New Orleans. And Cosmic Deputy, a 50-year retrospective of poetry by himself, Kalamu Salaam. And whereas Kalamu Salaam has written 3 books, recent, Precise Tenderness, a collection of haikus, Walking Blues, a novel about blues musician Robert Johnson, and Seeing Black, Photography in New Orleans, 1840 and Beyond. And whereas Kalamu, Salaam, is a writer, editor, photographer, and retired educator, now therefore be it proclaimed by the City of New Orleans that the New Orleans City Council proudly recognizes Kalamu, Salaam. It is at my request and in the name of and by the authority vested in the City Council. It's signed by all 7 members of our council. And I just say 2 very important words to celebrate this evening from the perspective that I see it as somebody just like you who's interested in our community. 2 very important words. Thank you.
I'll keep it brief, but I'm finna do an improvised original piece. But I just want to say, every day I look at my dad and wonder how he became the man he is today. And the more I figure out about him, the more I realize your importance in not just touching his life, but so many young Black lives, not even just in New Orleans, but I feel like around the world, so thank you.
I sometimes wonder whether the younger people who come into his orbit have a sense of how long his work has been going on, the range of what he's done. When the city of New Orleans elected Dutch Morial, its first black mayor, there was a horrific set of killings by the police in Algiers. And Kalamu took over Dutch's office, Kalamu and some other black folks. And I asked him about that years and years later. He said something had to be done. These cops went in with impunity, as if it was no big deal. It's kind of funny to me to think now that the enfant terrible, the young man, the young firebrand has become the elder statesman who's being honored at Words and Music. But it speaks volumes that this younger generation of writers and poets and people in general see Kalamu as someone to be looked up to and to be celebrated. That says to me that his work has resonated, that his work has inspired, that his work has endured, that his work will continue to resound. Kalamu, congratulations, Words and Music. Thank you for putting together this much needed tribute.
Give him a round of applause. That is an edited version from Lotus. We had to edit it, but we will make the full video available. And we also thank Ethelbert Miller, who, if you don't know who he is one of our major scholars, and it was just wonderful to have him participating tonight. Next, we have Dr. Mona Lisa Saloy coming to the stage. Give her a round of applause.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Thank you, Words and Music, for this extraordinary tribute to Baba Kalamu. We all owe you so much. God bless you. So, of course, he comes from an extraordinary New Orleans family, but he also has a literary family. And in the anthology that I'm representing, My Name is New Orleans, I Am New Orleans, is Marcus Christian. Marcus Christian was a historian, a folklorist, a printer. He even owned a laundry. He was quite the man. He was actually at Dillard University when he started the Colored Project of writers that became the Writers Who Fed the WPA project that fed the WPA Guide to New Orleans. That's where all the black stuff came from. So of course Tom Dent was a baby and growing up, but hearing the stories about these black writers, it's no wonder that he co-founded the Umbro Workshop. It's no wonder that he and Kalamu co-founded the workshops here in New Orleans. So Marcus Christian, Tom Dent, Kalamu, they're a trifecta of New Orleans. So his heritage is so broad, and even broader than that, but that connection is so powerful. So I wanted to acknowledge that. And in this anthology, Kalamu writes some words that I just can't pass up. It is very brief, but I just want you to hear. I knew it was his voice. NOLA is a myth, a reality, a port, a place, an opening, a dead end, a womb, a grave, Audubon Zoo in Monkey Hill Uptown, Mardi Gras Fountain with colored louds downtown, above ground crypts at St. Louis Cemeteries 1, 2, and 3. Football fields, parade grounds, picnic areas, citywide, lakefront, riverfront, fishing hole, bayou swamp, raw oysters, fried chicken, frontliners, secondliners, storefront churches, a sacred cathedral, superdome, shotgun homes. Your mama in there. Yeah, you're right. T-9, boot collar, bull shoo, preacher man, pusher man, corner store, Omar the pie man, red beans, rice, burl crabs, barbecue shrimp, filet gumbo, yakameen, pecan pralines, lemon pound cake, beignets at Cafe Du Monde in the Bou Carré, trout baquet at Little Dizzy's in the 6th Ward. Of course, it came from the 7th Ward. Dookie's and wild game banquets for bigwigs, burrows, fish catfish for the masses, way up near Shrewsbury, miss that place. Shaved ice, snow blitzes at Hanson's, treats for all the kids. Now you know this is Kalamu. Late night breakfast at Trolley Shop for the hipsters. Jazz brunch at Commander's Palace for the wealthy. Purple party, bus rolling round the town, streetcars on Avenue St. Charles, paddle boats and mini train rides in the city park, Preservation Hall marching in with the Saints. A SNA and PC, Social Aid Pleasure Club, coming out in full force. Rebirth hollering, "What bitch called the police?" Truck parades with the neighborhood carnival crew, coconuts, coronations, and debutante balls with Zulu. Tambourines, beadwork, colorful feathers, and shouts, "I know you Mardi Gras." When a friend calls you out, Central City, New Orleans East, Claiborne Avenue, Canal Street, Tulane and Broad, OPP, Orleans Parish Prison. Lower 9, CTC, cross the canal, y'all. Riverboats cruise up and down, ferry boats ride side to side. Crescent City Connection, the Big Easy Bridge to the West Bank, 3 feet below sea level, about 200 miles from the Gulf, even inundated by Katrina under a rising tide. We cut a stroke like shine, making it to dry land. Regardless of how much it rains, we rise, we rise. Who that? We that. That's Kalamu, ya Salaam. Kalamu, ya Salaam. And after I left home, after high school, and my sister made me go to college in the Northwest, I was reading Baba Kalamu, his reviews of jazz music, and telling me about New Orleans and about jazz and poets, and I said, the brothers from home. So I've known you many years before I met you. And then when we met, when I finally came back home, he was one of the few people in town, him and Tom Dent, who knew about Bob Kaufman. Born and raised in the settlement, who coined the word beatnik, black beat poet. So from then we were just, well, we were that way before, but Kalamu, Kalamu. So this is my poem from the anthology. It's called New Orleans, a Neighborhood Nation. Possums sleep middle of the road sometimes, invade soggy walls after hurricanes dump heavy rains, hide in closed closets and eat through my canvas book bags. Must taste like peanut butter and strawberry jam. The pages of wisdom spread like confetti on the floor. 10,000 spiders live in my neighborhood. What grows wild sticks like thorns. What crawls will bite you red and blue. Roaches spread wings past dusk, invade door jams. We grow, eat, and love some okra. There ain't no proper gravy without a little slime. Veggie slimes are us black folks on this planet. We know folks backwards and forwards, translate to every little thing. Nothing was tomato, rice, catfish, blues and jazz, and now even gumbo and some other stuff. We throw hissy fits in a heartbeat. Fine cayenne, salt, onion, celery, parsley, and thyme on yardbirds, baked, fried, or stewed, even on the other white meat. Anything that swims in a bayou, lake, or river. Catfish, grouper, redfish, crab, sheephead, cottonweed hen. Out of bread, whip up some galette or fritters with deep fried, ripe bananas, or a pocket of plantains in season, just honey to taste. Nah. When weather dips below 70, not too low, our winters without cold, that's gumbo time. Okra, seafood, beans de jour, red beans, white beans, butter beans, crowder peas, plus black-eyed peas, the eyes of God on us. But we still make hucklebucks in summer, make suppers to raise bucks for folks stuck between a rock and a hard place, and pass potato salad over a fence or a backyard barbecue with hot beer, and hurricane cocktails at sunset, in yards or on galleries, glad, the time measured in minutes. Who that? We that. Thank you. God bless you. We love you.
So it's my honor to share just a moment of what God created during the many, many hours that Runagate Press was born. And the books speak for themselves. But what I am forever grateful for is that the way you mentored me and allowed me to show up as a full partner and a young woman coming of age was the beginning. So I thank you forever. Runagate Press. It was a university, Kalamu. It was a labor of love. It was a production that wasn't a production. It was the spirit. It was, and Baba, I am so grateful to you for everything that you taught me, all of those long days and long nights, making sure everything was spelled correctly, everything was in place and in order, and each page followed in a certain order. You know, you can't pay for that, you know? And even though many people in NOMMO were educated in institutions, it is at in every rejection. If it was good, it was good. And if it was bad, you knew it. Thank you, Baba, for everything. Thank you.
Always know, hey man, after you may be down, with physically, with your spirit is always up. It is always great to be in your company, because your knowledge and your enthusiasm for this music and for this art form is incredible. And man, I wish you all the best, continued success. God bless you, brother, and peace and love.
Abram, we didn't forget about you. There was one more piece. Booth, can you pause for 1 second? We still are continuing the Runagate new era with Universal. He said, can I do a video? He said, how's this? I said, whatever you do, we love it.
Y'all. I've been learning from Kalamu Ya Salaam for 34 years, since I was a sophomore at the University of Texas at Austin, and I was assigned Black Love #1. I did not know what to make of it, and I can only thank the gods of the old academy that the term paper I wrote about it is lost to time. Thankfully. When I finally met Kalamu, the human, in the near history of only 23 years ago, he was my boss and mentor at students at the center. And I was still green enough to believe that I was teaching my students more than I was learning, though Kalamu quickly taught me better. It made me see the truth that I was learning more than I could ever teach, and in doing so, set me on my way to finally growing into the best teacher I could become. He's always had this idea that history is watching us, seeing how we measure up. And after Katrina, if possible, he had a larger sense of the history we were making. Is it possible that so either way, I had the immense pleasure and honor of getting to work with Kalamu and Ayo on the regular, and I've known enough in the last 20 years to be paying better attention, like actually knowing that I was in school when Kalamu was talking. Right after Katrina, when I was still living in my first landing spot, Kalamu came over with a huge video recorder propped up on his shoulder and interviewed Shauna and me about what we were thinking, how we were processing. I knew then that I had very little to say, and I was uncomfortable in the role of being documented rather than the documenter, but that was a lesson in itself. Abram, you are going through this also. A few weeks later, he called me. Where are you? I'm at home. I'll be there in 15 minutes, and he hung up. 15 minutes later, he showed up, and he asked that I join him at Ashe in welcoming the Playback Theater from Chicago. I said, you could have just asked me this on the phone, and I would have done it. And he said to this, he said, when you're organizing people, you go to where they are. And he looked at me meaningfully, like I should be taking notes. And in my own way, I was and I have been. One more thing. Thankfully, I was booked before Kalamu, so at least I didn't have to follow him. I read one of the pieces that I was writing for the Houston Chronicle about like coming home, a piece that tried to talk about like struggles and the optimism of coming home and explain to the audience in Houston that it was either New Orleanians trying to figure out their own calculus about coming home or Houston people who were still deciding how they felt about us. The piece was about our struggles. It ended with like a best face forward kind of thing, much like the tone that was kind of congealing in certain quarters of the city after Katrina. Ideas like resilient and good to be home again and Angela Mercado's is a rule the program or end it or refuse to let that narrative carry any part of the next 20 years. Here's what Kalamu did. First, he played his hand trumpet. Like, I'm not gonna try and do it, but he did it. And it was spectacular. I remember the amiable crowd murmur quieting, and then he played for a good while more. And then he read from this book, You Can't Survive on Salt Water, 7 haikus for Old Orleans. When he finished, you could hear a pin drop, and no one left the auditorium confused about what was at stake or the enormity of what happened. It was a telling of truth for the ages, and I was taking literal notes by then. In the 19 years since then, I've had the pleasure of working on so many books with you and IO, and it has been one of the gifts of my professional career, and I just want to say thank you to you both for the mentorship and all the love that you've shown this and for allowing me to have any part in making these books with y'all. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
In fact, he gave me a bunch of books. He gave me a whole carton of his one of the books that Runagate Media produced, and that was Fertile Ground. And I sold every single copy of that book, which at the time was pretty remarkable because I was just an affiliate of Barnes & Noble. So this was the first book that I sold and shipped directly on my own. And it was just, I was just happy that he believed in what I was doing, and as a result, I think that's one of the reasons why I'm still around today. Kalamu was, one of the few artists from his generation that dove right into tech in the early days. So in the early days of the web, I mean, he had a website, a domain, he had a blog. He was doing things online that others really weren't. And I think, you have to remain current with the technology. You have to keep current with the times and take advantage of what's new. And it wasn't just Kalamu adapting to technology. He actually, that we, pulled together. We were actually, providing training on technology and the World Wide Web in general. He doesn't look for the, approval of, our enemies or those who do not serve, have our interests at heart. And many people in the book business and literature, they seek that, and that's fine for them. But it's not what is going to serve our people. And observing Kalamu and how he moves in the world, that's one of the things that I probably. I also believe in our own ability to create, produce, and disseminate Black literature. And if we can't, then we ought not even be talking about being Black. That's Kalamu Ya Salaam. So thank you, and a little continua.
How y'all feeling? All right. We're not here to, I hope you don't feel like we're throwing dirt over you. We just Randalls to the stage. Students at the center.
Good evening. Good evening. I'll start at the beginning. I won't make it to the end. At the beginning, before Kalamu worked with students of the center, he and I ended up in an arranged partnership. A local arts education organization contacted us separately to see if we wanted Kalamu to be a guest artist, writer, and radio producer in a writing class I taught, and for Kalamu to be paid for his work. Kalamu would be in class 1 day a week for most of the school year. There would also be a series of guest writers and media personalities who would parade through the classroom once every 3 or 4 weeks. Kalamu and I both said yes to the arranged partnership. But we did not end our partnership. Kalamu did not want to be a guest artist or a guest writer. He wanted to build deeper relationships with the students in our classes. This beginning says a lot about Kalamu as a writer. He doesn't see being a writer as being a celebrity. He may not even say that writing is fighting. In his work at Students at the Center, he made clear that a writer is committed to daily, deep struggle. So much so that for the next 16 years following our arranged partnership, he was in every class I taught, every day, 6 classes a day, 5 days a week. What these over 1,000 students and I learned from Kalamu is that writing grows from deep collective struggle, exploration, and relationships. We were writing to organize and liberate ourselves, our families, our schools, and our communities, and we were doing it as a collective rather than as individuals. And we learned that Langston Hughes, in text that junior high student Kalamu found in the New Orleans Public Library, was one of Kalamu's first writing teachers. But we also learned that to learn and teach writing, you also should know Amilcar Cabral well, that you had to start with understanding your specific reality. I'm going to end up with selections from an essay by Kalamu and a selection from an essay by Ashley Jones, who was in that first class of the arranged partnership between Kalamu and me in 1999. Ashley is now co-director of Students at the Center and was teaching at a local high school at least until a week or 2 ago, when she and 3 colleagues were abruptly dismissed due to budgetary considerations. Ashley's essay is entitled Honoring Community, and I'll read just a couple of paragraph excerpts from it. In the summer of 2005, I had the rare privilege to see an ancient community working together to make themselves stronger. In this community, where people sit in a circle on the floor, there were expert hunters, farmers, and medicine men. Each person had a skill to share. And in the event that the medicine man was absent, people did not die, because everyone was taught the healing properties of certain herbs and plants. This ancient community was part of a play by students from Frederick Douglass and Chalmette high schools, both schools in neighborhoods severely devastated by Hurricane Katrina. Chalmette, a predominantly white high school, is in St. Bernard Parish. Just across the parish line from Douglass, the all-black New Orleans Public School where I was working. As part of the State of the Nation program, a project of the Douglass Community Coalition led by coalition member Art Spot Productions, these students dealt with the problem of the inequities of public education, specifically starting with the New Orleans public school system. In the 6 weeks that we convened to create this play, a group of black and white students who wouldn't otherwise be affiliated with each other became a community. I've seen them with my own eyes, learning from each other's strengths and each one growing stronger. As much as it made me happy to see this utopia of learning and understanding and community development, it was also heart-crushing. Because in the real world, a world where the individual is more important than the group, this type of community learning would not be awaiting them at their respective schools, unless they were able to be a part of a program such as Students at the Center, a school-based writing program that links communities to school and develops youth voices and leadership. And she concludes, imagine if all of the medicine men, all of the hunters, musicians, and farmers decided to create their own communities, excluding or rarely dealing with those with other skills. They would notice that their communities would become gravely destitute as musicians realize they know nothing about hunting. The hunters can't heal the sick, and the medicine men starve to death because they know not how to cook. The ancients understood one thing we fail to realize. You can't be a community by yourself. And even if you find a group of people who are just as smart as you, or can play an instrument just as fine as you can, there are skills that the group lacks and desperately needs. If we are serious about creating a better New Orleans, and we understand that a better school system is an important factor in that, then we know what we have to do. There is only one way to eliminate low-performing schools for good. Get rid of those schools that separate and destroy the potential of community. And then, and then these are postscript by Kalamu from one of our students at Center Books called Ways of Laughing. And the essay is a postscript entitled Understanding Ways of Laughing. And he entitles this part, How We Do. The alleged success story of the charter movement notwithstanding, the hard fact is that impoverished black students are neglected, miseducated, and far too often shunned off into incarceration rather than provided quality education. Students at the center does not romanticize poverty. We know firsthand how difficult it is to teach students who have been systematically denied quality education. Students who also have serious social and economic issues to deal with outside of the school setting. At Douglas, 20% of the student body was classified as special ed. 1 out of every 5 students had a serious learning disability that had been identified, and that doesn't even address the needs of those who have not been diagnosed. Regardless of status, we knew our students were able to learn and develop. We recruited and trained SAC students to help their peers. We started with oral intensive methodologies and then moved to writing-focused lessons. Lesson prompts and assignments were based on student experiences rather than the examples of the state-mandated texts, even though the mandated texts were used. For example, when we teach Gilgamesh, we emphasize the process of becoming human by interacting with another human and ask the students to talk and write about times when they became human through their relations with someone. When we teach Beowulf, the question is, what's worth fighting about? And the prompt is, discuss a time when you stood up and fought for something. Student life experiences become the platform for appreciating texts that are outside the student experience. The essays in this collection did not just fall from the sky. The student writers didn't just happen to think about these issues. They were encouraged to examine their lives and to express themselves howsoever they thought appropriate. We set no limits or boundaries, but more important than individual freedom is the development of community in the classroom. Words of Salaam. Thank you.
How is everyone? Here's a poem you all wrote, at least since I've been sitting. This is the poem you wrote. Here's to the one who refuses to let other narratives rule. This is hand trumpets and haikus. This is pin drop hearing and prophecies heard, truth telling and shit talking. Artistic mastery and ancient technology. Teach us more of ourselves. Show us what liberation looks like in the world. Show us what it's like to live and love black people out loud. This ain't us throwing no dirt on you. But even if we did, can you imagine the flowers that'll grow? Or maybe you don't have to imagine. Just look to the center. See the students. See the seeds. This is deep relationship and recognizing that writers Writers are the ones who are committed to the collective struggle. This is understanding the circle of life, the circle of the hunter, of medicine, of music, of a man who shows us how to come together in community, how to strengthen one another, how we develop imagination, and then we are still reminded there is no one person greater than the whole. Here is the real school, not the one of neglect. This is Gilgamesh in the ghetto, expression in full color. This is where we know this place. But we have glanced more times than we'd like to share, into eyes that stare with nothing there behind them but an unfulfilled wish, and an unconscious yearning for life, though death rests comfortably beside us at night, their moans are loud. They come to visit the guards at the gate and they stay until morning, torturing their guilt-ridden insides. The silent cries of the keepers are louder than the booms that come from the guns they use to occupy the space. And we know this place, because we have seen more times than we'd like to imagine. Bloated cadavers, floating through waters of a city gone savage, foraging a land for what can be salvaged, but what can be saved when all is lost. It happened in August, 29 days in. We are now 5 days out of the only place we knew to call house and home. Few things are certain. 1, we have no food. 2, there are more bodies lying at the roadside than hot plates being distributed, or first aid being administered, or recognition as a citizen, 14th Amendment. X, refugee, check, and we know this place. Oh, it's ever changing, yet forever the same. Money, power, and greed, the game. They suck and devour the souls of the slain. Oh, what a feast for the beast at their table of shame, with napkins round necks to catch the blood that drains from the flesh they chew. Oh, it's hell to gain, and we know this place, all too well. Dank with the smell of death and doom, it hovers, it smothers. No growth, no room, no pretty, no please, just gray, just gloom, just born me a hope, and it died too soon, just jucking, just jiving. We just living, oh, we just fools. We know this place was decked in all its array and splendor. Golden streets with good intention, capture our attention. Gadgets and inventions, pesticide the food supply, it's flu-like symptoms, diabetic condition, a cancer in the system, health on hold, it's a pistol to the temple. Go run to your churches, tell realm is simple. Good works and good deeds is what equals redemption, but tell me please, Jesus never mentioned how the churchmen get extensions on freedom while children are being fondled from the altar to the streets, then back to the sanctuaries. Oh, it's kind of scary, ain't it, to know that both the prophet and the priest practice deceit, then come to the people and claim peace, peace. Or they come to the people and claim love, love. But look, where is the peace, Where is the love? Where is that balm in Gilead that can heal the wounded soul or make the half-man whole? I swear we know this place because we have vowed before, never again to return. But look, here we are. Well, now we back in the desert. Dry mouth and thirsting for waters from heaven, but come children, rally round, and maybe together we can make a sound that will shake the trees or rattle the ground, make strong our knees, we's a freedom bound, and we know this place, reclaim the crown, hold on to the prize, never put it down, be firm in the stance, no breaks, no power. Forward on mamas, make your move now. Forward on babas, make your move now. Forward, dear children, because freedom is right now.
First thing that comes to mind when I think of Kalamu is gratitude. He was the first writer who told me I had talent. He was
I heard the voice, but that's the voice of Tony Bolden, who used to be with Dillard University and a student of Kalamu, and Tom Dent also. While they're trying to get that together, I want to let Mama Jen, Community Book Center, IO, and Brother Wood are on deck. we might have to go back to Tony later. Let's keep the show moving. Mama Vera, where are you?
Right here.
Okay, I can't see nothing. Come on up. And, oh, sorry, there it is. Thank you.
First thing that comes to mind when I think of Kalamu is gratitude. He was the first writer who told me I had talent. He was the first writer who encouraged me to write. He would stop what he was doing and meet with me and read, you know, my little poems and come back and give me feedback and what's the business of ending a poem like this? And I'm like, what? You know, you're supposed to, he took it seriously. The thing that sticks out in my mind, I think he was talking about a period when he was with Free Southern Theater. And he said he wrote 13 plays in 12 months. That's a lot of plays. So even if you're talking about one-act plays, that's a lot of work, so that kind of dedication. I also saw him confront David Duke in person before it was cool to be, like you got people now who say, they advertise themselves. That's their branding is, what do you call it, activists, right? He and a bunch of folks, it wasn't just him, but they literally took over the mayor's office in the summer, for a whole week. This was over, police brutality. So this was 80, 81, and they were just killing black men. It's killing folks, and we found out that the Klan was going to do some kind of, counter rally or something, and I remember, just because I was new to the city, I just remember being, feeling, just didn't know what was up, right? But that was a time, it wasn't like it was. He was doing all these things when it wasn't a sheet, you didn't get no extra credit, no celebrity status for none of that. The other thing with Kalamu, he's probably anomalous in this regard among the Black arts writers. I don't know, but this might be. But he's the only one I can think of anyway, the only one that I know of, that actually connected the blues to funk. But he's one of the few who actually, he talks about Parliament Funkadelic in one of his great essays on the blues, So just a lot of different things to say, but just a model of integrity and consistency over the years.
We love Tony. He's always supporting New Orleans. We appreciate him. Mama Vera is up. Lisa from Amistad is here. She can come up with this group. And I think Io and Brother Wood will end this portion. Thank you all.
Abarigani? Abarigani? I want to give, my name is Vera Warren Williams, and I am the founder and director of Community Book Center. Yes, ma'am. I was born and raised in the Lower Ninth Ward, across the canal. First of all, I want to thank the Creator for allowing me to be on this planet 65 years. I also want to honor especially my mother today, Georgetta Warren, for today would have been her 106th birthday. So I come from the old school. And I raised that because I grew up in a household where family was first, family was community. As a 5th grader, I remember every Saturday taking the bus from the Lower Ninth Ward to Canal Street in order to buy a Black Panther paper. And that's where I got my information and my revolutionary thoughts in teaching. I grew up on Renee Street, and little did I know that about 5 years later, I would be introduced to a Haitiana, which was right around the corner from where I lived. So as a 14, 15-year-old being welcomed into a revolutionary Pan-African organization that were the predecessors for homeschooling, where the people came first, and the education of our children were a priority. The seeds of my life were planted on Renee Street, but it was watered and nurtured and harvested around the corner on Tennessee. And Baba Kalamu was an intricate part of that, and a leader that helped to shape me and to give me the ideas and the support that I needed to come forward with the vision and the dream of what is now Community Book Center. By any means necessary, we have to provide positive images, knowledge, and truth for not only our young people, but for our community. It is so important for us to show and be good examples for our children. Because after all, they learn where they live. And one thing I learned was that as much as we complained about the man and what was happening, his foot on our neck, and we can't do this and we can't do that because the man always on our back. One thing I learned from Baba Kalamu was that we control what happens in our homes. The home is the first educational system. That's the teacher right there. And by example, Baba Kalamu, Mama Tayari, Baba Keith, Mama Daphne, Baba Mtamishi, Mama Shawishi, Mama Nalima, Baba Okali, and Wandaji, and all of the other members. Baba Kenneth, Sister Melba, all of these people help to seed, nurture, and grow me and Community Book Center. So I'm extremely honored. I'm grateful. I'm proud to say that on Sunday mornings, Well, I started off going to Canal Street on Saturday to get my Black Panther paper. 25 cents. I saved my money, not only for my paper, but I had my coffee. And I'd walk, look, yeah, you know, that's how it was coffee. Get that transfer, and you could go all the way around. Now we might have to do some walking, but hey, that's what it was. We didn't have the luxury of being Ubered here and Uber there. We also didn't have the luxury of ordering DoorDash to eat whatever it was. We had food prepared that was healthy and wholesome, and we sat and we ate together. I tell you one thing, the first time I had rutabaga and purple cabbage, y'all know I'm telling the truth, right? Was in the Salaam house. So I know that the evening is far spent, but the main thing I want you to get, and the main thing I want you to understand, is be the change that you want to see. And people, especially our children, watch what we do more than what we say. And with that, I'm extremely grateful. Thank you.
You really can't see anybody up there. Good evening. I see the man with the city proclamation. All right. My name is Lisa Moore. I'm the head of research services at Amistad Research Center. I too grew up here, but I left when I was 16 and came back 5 years ago. I remember when the bus cost a dime and you would get that transfer. I was born on Joliet Street and raised all over the city because my parents divorced when I was young. So, but now I'm back and I am here representing Amistad Research Center. Kathy Hainbrick, our executive director, could not be here. She is in New York collecting a new manuscript collection, whose name I can't say. But, but I did want to say to Kalamu, thank you for your name is reflected in so many collections that we have. Not only your library, which I'm still cataloging, over 3,000 books, and you and I will have to talk later about duplicates. But the Tom Dent papers that we hold, the NOMMO publication records that we hold, which is part of the Black Arts Movement of the South in the late 60s and early 70s, we have those records. Ooh. Free Southern Theater papers that we hold. I looked up the finding aid and saw we have plays of yours. Ahitiana records that we just acquired. Tom Dent papers, oral histories, Junebug Productions, Jerry Ward's papers, Harold Sylvester's papers, where I saw you with Val Ferdinand as a Purple Knight in the newspaper. I recognize those glasses. In journalism. John O'Neill's papers, Kim Lacey Rogers' interviews, the Dent family papers, Harold Baptiste papers. We cannot forget the library, which I am still cataloging. And we will talk more. And we have issues of those Black Panthers as well. We have a Black Panther newspaper collection. All that to say, of my father? Oh. My father is Deacon John. So, came back home, be close. I actually live right next door to him. And my mother was Janet Salahuddin, used to work at the post office, if you want the lineage. Janet Adams, yeah. My aunt is Sybil Kine, was Sybil Kine. So I'm a child of New Orleans. Well, I'm on the low. Well, not anymore now. But I'm at the Amistad. If y'all want to come and look up some of Kalamu's work, call me, email, make an appointment. We're open by appointment since COVID, and because half of our collections are stored in an off-site location, we need time for me to get in the van and go get them, basically. So I thank you, Kalamu, because you have enriched our collection so much, and we are open to everybody can come and research, you know, within some limits of when I'm there. But thank you for everything you've done. All right.
Mike already ready for me.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Hey y'all, how y'all doing? Oh my goodness. Kalamu. If only you knew. I'm a Sally, first of all, before I get all emotional and romantic and stuff. How y'all doing? I'm a Sally Divine Ecclesiastes. I'm the Chief Equity and Executive Officer of the Ashe Cultural Arts Center, whose papers Kalamu is also reflected in at the Amistad collection. And I'm here with my dear brother,
Frederick Hollywood Delahousie III, affectionately known as Wood. I'm the former artistic director of the Ashe Cultural Arts Center. Now I work for the city as deputy director of the Office of Cultural Economy.
Yes.
So, you know, yeah. That's why
another
I
office that Kalamu has influenced and impacted and created along with the jazz. Let me just say this.
Everything, go ahead. Again.
A community historian, a social justice advocate of the kind of ripple effect, intergenerational, the kinds of cross-discipline, multi-sensory. Hey, Ayo.
Yeah, Ayo here. Ayo Scott. There we go.
You want to say something before I?
Yeah, because you know.
Because you're about to get into.
We're gonna be quiet for a long time.
I'm not the word person, so I'm just gonna be reading mine.
Okay, all right, wait a minute. All right, well, let me, you know, I'm straight off the dome right now. All right. So look, before I knew Kalamu, I knew who he was.
Sure.
As a product of McMain Magnet kind of education, where we had Kalamu Salaam and Sonia Sanchez and Tom Dent poems in our classes. That doesn't happen very often. And that is because of the impact that Kalamu has had on our education system. He and the ecosystem that he helped to create that undergirds so much of what we get to experience and know as New Orleans today. When I was in college, I had his poems on the wall next to Nikki Giovanni and Maya Angelou, because I knew I wanted a boy to like me like that. Like that was gonna be my dude, the one who liked me like Kalamu, you talking about the tasty needs and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's my type. Right? So before I knew him, he helped me to know a part of myself. And when I got to know him, he helped me to, not only did he connect himself to all these institutions, he connected so many of us, scores and scores and scores of New Orleans youth. And there is no way we can ever repay him except to amplify him every day with everything that we do, so that our next generation is filled with Kalamus. Right? Time. We need a generation filled with Kalamus, young men and women who are not afraid to be their whole entire self, and not afraid to reflect everything that their community is, and not afraid to dare us all to be the best of who we are destined to be all the time. And I'm gonna be quiet now.
I'll be brief since you, I don't know, family. I just want to give thanks, first of all, for this room. You know, we are lucky enough in New Orleans to live amongst giants, to have our heroes sitting in the front of rooms and slide a poem in every now and then to remind us what greatness looks like and feels like and sounds like. You know, they remind us that who we are is because of those who shine the light for us. So I'm giving thanks for that. Then I'm gonna tell a brief story. Those of us who dare to call ourselves poets, right, we got these heroes. So I've had the pleasure of performing with a few of my heroes. Matter of fact, Asali and I performed with Amir Baraka many, many moons ago. Yeah, no doubt. That was one. But there was another time where we were at Trinity University in San Antonio, Texas. I was going first. I went out on the stage, how you understand, and I gave everything I had. I was sweating, veins popping out, I'm crying, and people are standing ovation, I'm clapping. I walked off the stage, and Baba Kama was like, you know, you're getting better. Right? And I was like, damn, I was like, you know you lately daddy to be that, you know. And he was like, yeah, I was like, you know. And then he walked out on stage and he did this haiku. This is right after Katrina. He said, a son returns, finds 3-month-old bones wearing missing mother's dress. And then he walked off the stage. And I was like, yeah, I got a long way to go. So Baba, you know, I'm that you have decided to just share every ounce of yourself with us. I don't know where I would be as an artist, as a poet, as a human, in the work that I do. Like, I know what a community servant and a cultural servant is because you poured into us what it means to be that. So I'm just so grateful, Baba. And I'm supposed to read one of your poems, and I don't know if I'm supposed to, I don't know if I'm able to do that. So I'm gonna let Ayo talk. But I'm for damn sure not gonna do none of my poems. You know, in front of you no more. So, Ayo.
Great, yes. So, after all of that, I no longer feel as inclined to read what I had written. It's a humbling honor just to be up here. A lot of people, through his art and his idea of passing it on, what it looked like. And the two of you were such kindred spirits, and I didn't know that your name meant pen of peace until recently in trying to put some words together. And it made me think about the fact there was a sign in front of my house growing up that said Asam Dwepe. That meant house of peace. And as a little kid, I was swinging on it and everything else, had no idea what that meant either. And in time, when that sign was no longer there and I asked about it, is when I found out what it actually meant. I'm grateful to be at a point in my life where I can learn to appreciate and learn to share and pass on what has been shared with me because of people like my father and people like you. And I'm grateful for you. My father's motto was pass it on. And on this same street 16 years ago, we started the open mic Pass It On, which not just cultivates poets and writers, but also musicians and visual artists. And I appreciate the opportunity to be here to honor you on that, so thank you.
Kelly just looked at me and was like, you gonna read the poem. So, bye y'all. Yeah, so I'm gonna go over here because I think something else is supposed to happen too. Right? That's good? Stay right here. Where you want me at? Over there? I'm gonna go over there. Okay. All right, I feel like I know this poem, but I'm gonna put it up just in case. This is one of them joints where two of my heroes got together and did something together, but you know it's like. So when you hear the poem, you're gonna know what I'm talking about, because there's one young brother by the name of Douglas Reed who did some artwork that went with this piece. So. Our women Our women keep our skies from falling. They keep our days from dying, our nights from crying. Carrying deep within themselves the sacred sun loves of African American lives. Embers which fire. Black generations are securely embedded betwixt broad Baobabian hips and gleams sparkling forth from deep lakes of blue, black, brown, dark, ebony eyes. Their song is healing song. Our women keep our skies from falling.
While they're working on that, are y'all having a good time? Are you learning? So Words and Music always supports Community Book Center. And apparently 2 names have been pulled for gift cards to shop at Community Book Center. I don't know how much is on it, but it's a thick card. These names were randomly pulled from those who RSVP'd. So one winner is Ron Cabana. See here. Ron, that ain't you. We know you, Stan.
I'm here.
You're here? Okay, so well, Naomi will bring you your card at some point. See who that is. I can't see nothing with these glasses on up here. And, Booth, are you ready? Booth, is that a yes? I'm hoping it's a yes. I can't see nothing. Thank you. What you need?
And he's up here.
I'm back. I know I'm back. But, and we have one of Baba Kalamu's siblings with us tonight. 2. I'm sorry, I can't see. Okay, so both siblings, we want to welcome you out to the stage. If you want to say anything, we want to welcome you at this time while they're still doing tech stuff. So please welcome. Oh, you made me say anything? They told me one of y'all was gonna say something. Oh, okay, all right, he playing with me. Okay, I was like, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. Thank you.
I'm Keith, I'm a little one. And when you grow up in the black community, they identify you by your position in the family. So it was I was maybe 15, 16, 17, I was the baby in the family. And I really didn't have a sense of identity of who I was. I was always Lil Val's little brother, Kenneth's little brother, the baby of the family. And it was only until I was able to start to nurture myself that I got a sense of being. But it was built on the platform of having a great life. And we still have a joke, there was no excuse. If he said do something, do it. If he said cut the grass, I haven't eaten breakfast, eat after you cut it. My leg hurt, hop on one leg. We don't have any gas, here's the gas can. So after a while we learned when you were supposed to do something, there's no excuse. And those of you who heard for probably the first time that Kalamu was more than just a poet and an artist, but he was also an activist who was face to face with David Duke. Well, that's ancient history. And unfortunately it's not. So thank you. I think I have an identity now, but I'm still here.
I don't have much to say, but thank you to you all, people in the audience, for acknowledging my big brother. Everything that's real about a brother is present in Kalamu. Kalamu and I, because Keith was young, the baby. I don't know if that's a good excuse. But Kalamu and I, remember, did so much together in terms of what y'all used to call the civil rights movement, when you couldn't vote nation because it's been taken from us. The place he would go, I would go with him. And he'd jump a gutter, I'd try to jump the gutter. He even went to the high school at St. All. Yeah, I definitely went first because I played music. Right? Yeah, well, the word is, the smartness started with you. I got a piece of it, gave it whatever I had. He had already put on tons of it and went on to do what he does now, and all of you know what that is. It takes a lot of intellect to do that. So the word intellect is, and most people don't have a sense of what that is. So, my big brother is my leader, guide, teacher, and everywhere we went through the civil rights movement, he led me to be involved. And Kalamu, you could look at where we are today and know how important it was. Thank you, Kalamu.
Rainbows. I can't hold you in the present. The future will know our kiss. Everything that keeps us apart just makes our coming together stronger. Everything that keeps us apart just makes our coming together stronger. Rainbows come after the rain. If I don't touch you in the flesh, I'll see you in the dream time. If I can't hold you in the present, the future will know our kiss. Everything that keeps us apart just makes our coming together stronger. And all the hard hassles of today will be sung as funny lyrics tomorrow. In the rainbow sweetness, love song, rainbow.
Go to our next slide, Luke. And, I told y'all I had way more content, people that wanted to speak than I had space for. If you don't know who this person is, somebody whisper it to
He and his co-workers and brothers and sisters were building Haitiana down in New Orleans. And he approached us about publishing one of his books, and we ended up publishing 3 of his books. The first book we published of his is What is Life? Right here, essays, which proved to me that he was now in. The second book that we published is this very important book, The Magic of Juju, an appreciation of the Black arts movement, which he was a part of in terms of help to build that movement. He was critical to the movement. The third book we published of his is a book of 100 haikus. And this is a first. This is a first. I want to say that it's important that we recognize that he's a jewel. He's a dumb and his family. And so to honor him is to honor us. And I hope to see you soon. Love you. Take care.
So earlier I did not say I am Keisha Brown. And Kalamu and I started Runagate Press together. Well, that would have been after I asked him what was up with having a workshop that was only for the brothers. A writing workshop that was either Nadir or Sadi that said we should name it Fertile Ground. And then we birthed Runagate Press. But before all of that happened, Kalamu had created a word band. And so we are here to represent an iteration of the word. Sadi Kali, Nadir Lassana Bomani, Glenn Joshua, Ginger Bread, the original Ginger Maria Tanner, and Carl LeBlanc.
Let's not forget Jonathan Bloom.
Let's not forget Jonathan Bloom.
I'm flying home, flying, 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 flying home. I'm flying, 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 flying home. I'm flying, 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 flying home. I'm flying home.
This ancient land was one bare and moccasined feet. Now, from coast to coast, from Great Lakes to Gulf, there is a mechanical roar of engines. Now there is the boom of bombs, the staccato stutter of handguns, the quiet binary click, 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 clicking of computers, and the tortured cry of nature, encased in aviated metal, surrounded by the sad contentment of civilized progress, anxious to maintain its hegemony of coercion. I am an African. And as we fly forward into the future, unmindful of the decadence of a heavy metal epoch rusting to dust, of meditating in the amber of a muted spangled banner. This land we jet across was ancient once. This soil be ancient once more, unmolested by a social order so unrepentant in its disdain for the womb, our earthly environment, that only its death can justify the manifest destiny of this and methodically murdered red, so avariciously and cruelly enslaved black. If this is truly one nation under God, then surely their God must be a devil. Level of sweetness,
a fresh flower. Oh, yes, you are.
You are a fresh flower.
You are
bursting boldly.
Bursting boldly.
Strong as
steel.
And you are reaching for sunlight. Reaching for sunlight, you raise yourself up from down under, out of the degrading. But you,
a fresh flower.
You have transformed manure, muck, and mire into fertilizer. And you are springing self-assertively past winter weather. You bring a sweet, fragrant incense. You stale with the stuffiness of misogynic, sexist status quo. You blossom. You blossom. You bloom. You expand and grow. Raising beauty to a bedazzling higher. Black woman.
A fresh flower.
Grow on, black woman, grow on, black woman, grow on, go on, go on.
a little bit. There's a seat, a chair. Michael, somebody, we want to get Baba Kalamu up. So booth, don't panic. I'm rearranging some things because some folks gotta go and we paid some money for some stuff. And so, you know, we're gonna kind of, is that all right? Listen, it's been a long night, I know, but I hope that it's been, but it's Kalamu, so what's one night when all that he's given us, right? We're gonna hear from him in a little bit, but we just want to honor you real quick. Michael, can you move all of that?
I feel like this execution.
So before we do what we do, hold on, let me check.
The gun's loaded?
So a few things. As Naomi, go check and see if they're making their way. I'm gonna do my final comments now and let NOMMO have the end of the night. This has been a pleasure, a lot of work. The end of this night we were supposed to end it with Sonia Sanchez. And because of travel and some other things, we couldn't get her here. And then we were supposed to do a video and all of these things. So you're probably wondering why the show started late. Well, it started late because Sonia Sanchez called me about 4 times. I missed some of her calls. She called me back and she wanted to be able to bring a voice to tonight. And so I'm going to try to share that a little bit after we do what we do. And I know it's kind of backwards, but they got somewhere else to be. So let's see if they're ready. All right, give Baba Kalamu another round of applause.
Gingerbread on vocals. Audio narration. Carl LeBlanc playing that. We used to be called the Word Band. And we went all over the place. Some of the places we went, where we were? St. Louis?
St. Louis,
St. Louis.
New York, Philadelphia,
All over the place.
wow.
And,
Texas. We went to Atlanta to do the National Black Arts Festival twice.
Right.
Yeah, opened up for the last poet.
And then Little Rock opened up.
Little Rock.
Festival.
Yup.
Art Center there. And Carl LeBlanc with his crazy stuff. Where's Carl?
Yeah, man.
Remember when you were playing the guitar with the
broomstick?
The broomstick. He picked up the broom. I'm telling y'all, they had to be there. He picked up the broom that they were sweeping the stage with. And he started playing the guitar with the broomstick.
My most memorable, I mean, you gave me a lot of stuff when you coming on my radio show after your show on OZ. You know, I learned a lot about music. And when you were over Jazz Fest, you helped me become a band leader and all that. Well, my deepest memory is when they were putting the white supremacy monument back up. And I'm out there with my guitar on my shoulder, my sandals, you know, I'm thinking, you know, peace and love. And Kalamu grabbed the microphone and said, oh, first off, Brother Sekou from the bookstore was out there taking pictures of all of the campers with the rebel flags on their windshields and stuff. He's taking the pictures of their license plates. You know?
away with my guitar, you know. And Kalamu got Mike, he said, well, you know, we don't know what y'all got in them white robes, but we got something under our robes too. And that's when I realized that the pen of peace side to him. I said, well, I can start using this art that God gave me, this art. I can start using it for something else other than what I thought was the complete purpose of it. So I want to thank you for helping me understand that.
Are y'all ready? Get comfy, y'all can get up now.
One other thing I want to say, Carl LeBlanc, in case y'all don't know it, he's the only solo guitar player I know who's played both with Sunrise in the orchestra, right? Right, Carl?
Yes, sir.
And he's played with a group that some of y'all have probably never heard before. You may have heard of them. The Preservation Hall. So from the ancient to the future. That's called
they gigging, and I don't want to stand in the way of nobody's gigs. I'm an artist. It's rough. It's holiday season. They was like, look. So we did a little reverse. I hope that's okay. Got a little energy out. The beloved NOMMO Literary Society. I don't know how we doing videos, but I'm gonna just let y'all go. We got stuff from Cassandra Lane and Jericho. We may not be able to get to it all tonight. Tell them my apologies, but we will make everything available. We also had a video from Eugene Redmond that we weren't able to show tonight as well. So, NOMMO, it's all.
Okay, so we have set precedent. We use the time we were asked to use. Let's govern ourselves accordingly.
Before we do the big finish of NOMMO, I want everybody to appreciate the hard work that Megan Holt and Kelly Harris-DeBerry and everyone who worked on this legacy project. Kalamu has 5 birth children, but he has buku daughters and sons, as you can tell, and we thank you and appreciate y'all. Thank you.
So, the NOMMO Literary Society, in the heart of Treme. We have been there for 6 hours, and there's still more people to read. So some of us are dozing, some of us are wide awake, some of us are terrified because we're up next to read, because we don't know how things will be received. But one thing is for certain.
Shut up and write.
No preamble, no explanation.
Leave your feelings at the door.
Leave your feelings at the door, thank you, Freddie, and read. And most importantly, write and rewrite and write again and write well.
All right. I'll try to be brief. I joined NOMMO in 1998 after the publication of From a Bend to the River. I was looking for a workshop. I was actually in 2 workshops and I stayed in both of them. One of them was a science fiction workshop out at UNO. And it may have seemed like a guerrilla workshop because we just more or less showed up and took over a room out at UNO. We didn't have permission to be out there. But after that, it was pretty strict. It was built on the Clarion format where people would bring work, you would read work, we would go around and people would go around and give critiques of your work, but you couldn't say anything. NOMMO was somewhat different. NOMMO was quite different in that the writer was encouraged to respond. This helped me immensely. I was able both to explain my intention behind the work and ask what was unclear to readers. Most importantly, I could find out if any of the murkiness within my text was just poor writing, or whether it was just cultural disjunction, whether they couldn't understand because they didn't know where I was coming from. So I can say the first poem and the first story that actually got published was critiqued in NOMMO.
So the first time I came to NOMMO, I had written a poem, and everybody knows that I can't write poetry. And I'd known Keisha for many years. We'd gone to UNO together. And I had given her this poem to read, and she looked at it and she said, "You should come to this workshop." She didn't actually warn me or anything. Long story short, I'm not a poet. It's abundantly clear. It was made clear to me that I was not a poet. But Kalamu did point out that I was a fiction writer. And I can literally say that he and NOMMO changed the course of my life. And I don't know where I would be today. I mean, I wouldn't be in a ditch or anything, but I do feel like I am pursuing the path that I'm supposed to be on, and I attribute it quite largely to Kalamu, who to this day, even though we don't meet every Tuesday, I am absolutely terrified of writing something
that he would kind of go, keep working on it. So I'm immensely grateful to him, to his commitment. I had teachers tell me before that I was a good writer, but Kalamu taught me that this was a verb. He put it into action every Tuesday for literally like 6 hours.
Yeah.
He gave of his time in a way that I have never experienced since. And I will say I've been in a lot of workshops since then, and there's so many fragile writers in the world. And I am so grateful to NOMMO for helping me to get past fragility, because you couldn't be fragile and be in this workshop. And that has really been a tremendous gift to me, so many gifts. But Keisha told me I only have a minute,
So Kalamu behind you, but this is Freddie. When I joined the workshop, I felt like I was in kindergarten because all of my mates were in high school, so to speak, or college. But you were, I don't think you had mercy, but you did treat me a little gently, right? I remember one particular piece that I read, and your question was to me, is there structural consistency? And I was like, I don't even know what that means. How can I answer it correctly? But I did learn swiftly, and you did not have to ask again. So it was almost like a crash course in writing, and I just thank you for your persistence and for calling me a writer. You were the first person to do that, and the person who's made the most difference in my writing. And you continue to do so, even to this last book that just came out. And not only did you influence the writing, but even in, this is a book on John Scott called Passing It On, and co-authored by Anna Rita Scott, John Scott's wife, and me. And on the inside, we put a letter that John wrote his son, Io, who was just a few minutes ago, because his letters were always pieces of art. And in this, he put 2 of Kalamu's poems, 2 of his haikus. And so you get art within an art piece. Yeah. And so this shows me what I think was Salaam who talked about the intergenerational influence that he's had, because not only did John Scott use some of his work, but in a recent interview with Jerome Big Duck Smith, we asked him about his promotion of literacy and how he encouraged students to read, and even his peers on the, when I interviewed his fellow civil rights workers, they talked about him always having books and sharing books with them. And he said that he was influenced by Kalamu's school. He talked about visiting your school. You were on Zoom, so I don't know if you got that, but he talked about visiting the school and seeing the influence of that you had on the students and the importance of reading. And that is what influenced him to pursue and perpetuate that with students around the state. Thank you.
Kalamu, Monday night I found out that we were honoring you. I was sitting in Dallas, Texas, and I was like, I gotta be in New Orleans on Wednesday to be right here with you. Back in 2003, Vicki Meek told me to come down and be part of NOMMO.
Vicki Meek in Dallas.
Vicki Meek in Dallas, yeah. And I'm a suburban girl, so I came to the city, and amongst all the books and the CDs and the records, and you have this table in the middle of this room. I mean, everything. If you haven't been to it, it's all piled up high. You come in, you pour your heart out, you're reading, and he gives you books to read. He'll give you music to listen to. Great commentary. An amazing group of people. Paulette helped me with filming. Everybody helped me with ideas of like how to interview, how to do. It was such a core group of just special, wonderful people. Thank you so much.
I just want to point out that one of the cardinal rules of NOMMO was that you were to leave your feelings at the door. But I'm just here tonight to say that all of us continue to go there because of the way that you made us feel, Kalamu. You made us feel heard, and you made us and helped us prepare to be heard throughout the world. And if we didn't feel that way every week, we wouldn't have shown up. And so despite your admonition to leave our feelings at the door, I'm here to remind you that we came because of those feelings and because of how you affirmed them. Thank you.
In case y'all don't know, that's Naomi's dad. From Mississippi. From Mississippi.
And so I asked Valentine, who is our cousin cross town, who said, I only came to one workshop. I said, well, guest was a part of our culture, so you was a guest. And I asked C. Lee, who was our cousin from Mississippi.
He came down every month for the Friday sessions at Community Book Center. We would drive down to Mississippi. And I really believe it was so you could have some peace in the house.
Until she started coming with me.
Yeah. And then she thought, you know, well, there must be a reason he's going down there. And it was really wonderful to see Lee come down from Jackson, Mississippi. Every month we drive down.
And so I want to just thank you, Kalamu, for being such a prolific producer in anything that you touch. However many books are represented in your person, I celebrate that there are books standing behind you. For awards that you won for your writing, there are awards in your literary lineage. For relationships that you built across the country and across the world, you taught us that those relationships are important. And that is your legacy. What is also a part of your legacy that's represented by Sunny, by Asali, by Wood, is that everybody didn't have to come do your thing, but you encourage people to go forth and do their thing. And did they do it? Did they do it? Did they do it? And so we love you, we thank you, we celebrate you, and we will keep on doing it.
All right.
Out of this group, we're going to go around and each of us will tell how many books we have published. So,
there is just one book, please.
It doesn't matter.
The book that was mentioned, Louisiana Midrush.
Okay, I have published Freedom Stand Social Aid and Pleasure Club in New Orleans with LSU Press, and was honored to have co-authored Unfinished Blues, Memories of a New Orleans Music Band with the wonderful and glorious Dr. Harold Ortiz, restored on Orleans Collection.
I've had some stories published most recently, a story actually in an anthology edited by Kalamu's daughter, Evie, was nominated for the Shirley Jackson Award for Best Novelette of the Year.
That's right.
I have an essay on art making as an act of Afrofuturism coming out next month, and I have a novel manuscript on submission in the Hunger Games. Of that, I like to think of that. Yes, it's publishing group.
Ready? So I have, thanks to Kalamu, I have 6 books, 1 in French, that's 7, and then I have a contract for
I did one, Wild Hairs and Other Repressed Voices. Wild Hairs and Other Repressed Voices.
The book that was on the screen, I Feel to Believe, a collection of columns.
You got another book too. got another book coming.
I do have another book. Kalamu has decreed it.
Oh, Mona Lisa, I'm sorry, I forgot you was over there. I'm over 50. We love you. You're up here in spirits. You're one of our extended family.
I have two books, Geometry of the Heart and Upplicator. And I want to acknowledge the fact that the first hardcover anthology I was ever published in was 100 New Orleans Poets, Runagate Press.
I've published 8 books, but most importantly to my relationship with Kalamu, it is because of, when I was working on my master's, I walked into my master's committee with 100 pages and 150 sources. If you've ever served on a master's committee, if anybody walks into your office with 100 pages and 150 sources, you think whatever God you serve, that this thesis is going to be written, and that's one less one you have to worry about. Unfortunately for me, they rejected my thesis, even with 100 pages and 150 sources, because they told me, we're not going to allow you in an English department to write a thesis on the lyrics of Prince. But because and Kalamu walked me through the second reissue of my book. He and Jerry Ward, in Doc Ward's house, walked me through the second edition of that book. And that book has gone on after that second edition with Kalamu and Doc Ward to be taught at 10 different universities. So to go from having your master's thesis rejected to having mentors like Doc Ward and Salaam, mentors like that, you can do anything to help change the world. So I thank you.
I'm holding though, I'm holding for you. But we just wanted you to hear what that legacy looks like real in the world. And so we just thank you for giving these few more minutes.
Now the difference is, okay, I'm an educator, 33 years at the university, born and raised here, educated. But Kalamu, once we hooked up, like I said, it was always an ongoing conversation. But most importantly, when I met young brothers that I taught, and I felt like I poured myself into them and gave them and had them read, and what he does with these people, that's what I do with my students. Then I sent them to him. So my poetry sons, he took them all. Sadi Kali, most notably, and Jericho Brown. So God bless you.
And let's give.
I know that the time is well spent, but I'm just going to see if I can play a little of Sonia Sanchez tonight, because she tried so hard, and she's 90, to get here, and to just that is your life and your work, that afforded me that opportunity to be on the phone and have one-on-one with Sonia Sanchez. So I thank you. Let's see.
Thank you.
Breaking up the internet too. I'm sorry, I can't get it all, but I know time is well spent. Let me just say this. Salaam. She told me this funny story about helping with the Salaam children. I finally caught up with them, and my dear sister, I had to discipline them So I don't know which one of y'all it was. And you can have the last word.
Y'all get home safely. You get home, get some rest, because next day we gotta get up and get at it. We gotta get up and get at it each and every day. There's no rest for the weary. There ain't no rest for the weary. And as they say, members, don't get tired. The other peoples can fall by the wayside, but members, don't get tired. Say it out loud. Members, don't get tired.
Thank you, Words and Music. Tomorrow, you'll be in conversation with whom about your novel?
Oh, that's with C. Lee, I believe.
And that's a luncheon. I think there's going to be food and some other things. And then Sing Black document, a PowerPoint that anybody can add to. So you can make a video and drop it in. If you got old pictures, you can drop it in. I'm going to let it ride for like 6 months. And then I'm going to hand that and a lot of this stuff over to the Amistad. So that it's always been true transparency. My goal always was to have the event and also preserve as much as we could. So thank you, and thank you.